All right. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. And it won't take too much time. Maybe within maybe half an hour or so. Okay. All right. So, Korean is a language mainly spoken by Koreans. Okay. Unlike English, this is not like a language that's spoken worldwide. Okay. It's mostly spoken by Koreans. We have two Koreas in the world. What are they?
North and South Korea.
The North and South. And I am from which country?
South Korea?
The South Korea, yeah. So South Korea is the free Korea, okay? That's the Korea that you usually know, the BTS and everything. That's South Korea, okay? The North Korea is what people call the rogue state, okay? Communist regime, no freedom, dictatorship, starvation, nuclear missiles and stuff. Okay, those are the keywords that you probably hear on the internet or news. My family actually came from the north. They escaped North Korea back in the days in 1950 when Korean War broke out. Because in communist regime, you do not have freedom of religion. They're going to kill everyone who has religion. My great grandfather was a pastor. So he decided to take all his family to the South. So I'm like third generation immigrant to South Korea, from North Korea basically. But yeah, these two Koreas speak Korean as their native language. Okay, so which means I, as a South Korean, can understand people from North Korea. Okay? And they also speak Korean, although in different dialect. Okay, same writing system, same language. Okay, and if you see this blue, like light blue marked area, this is China, and this is a part of Russia. Okay, and these are the regions where what we call the ethnic Koreans live. Okay, these are places where people with Korean heritage lives. Okay, Korea was annexed by Japan until 1945. And we were colonized by Japan. A lot of Koreans moved to China and Russia to start an independence movement, or they want to start a new life there or something. So there are a lot of Koreans dispersed around this area. Now they're Chinese or Russians, but they sort of have they still like carry Korean heritage and speak the language and stuff. Okay, so there are about 78 million speakers of Korean language worldwide right now. Okay, and yeah, the important thing to note is we did not have our own writing system until the 15th century. Okay, it was only starting from 1446 when Hangul, the Korean alphabet, was invented. Okay, I'm gonna get more into that later. Okay, the most important thing as you learn this language is the structure. Okay, we have subject, object, and verb structure. So instead of I love you, we say you love. Okay, in English it would be I love you, subject, verb, object. But in Korean it would be you love. 나는 너를 사랑해. Okay? And the same structure will be found when you use the be verb here. I am a student, right? Student, verb, object, subject, verb, object. And now, in Korean it says 저는 학생이에요. I, student, am. So use the be verb at the end of the sentence, okay, instead of in the middle. So this is something that you will get used to as you learn this language. Another distinct feature of the language is what we call the marker. Okay? If you see the first two syllables, it says 나는 in Korean. Na means I. Okay? Na means I. And 는 is what we call the marker. So this is like a hashtag attached after a pronoun or a noun saying, oh, whatever the word that comes before me is a subject. Okay? So it's a subject marker. Okay? And this lu here is also a marker, but it's an object marker. Okay? It indicates that whatever the word that comes before me is an object. Okay? It's an object marker. So we have what we call the marker. And that does not exist in English language. Okay? It does exist in Korean. It exists in Japanese too. If you have ever learned Japanese, you might have learned the similar thing. Okay? Now, because we have marker, we can change word order. Okay? So, here, it says, 나를 너는 사랑해. Now, this time, you use the object marker first. Okay? So, although this is an unusual form, you can still say this. You can put the object first and then the subject. Okay? 나를 너는 사랑해. So it's kind of poetic, or it kind of emphasizes the meaning. In English, it would be like, it's you that I love. Okay? So instead of I love you. So it basically means the same thing, but, with a slightly different tone and message. Okay? 나를 너는 사랑해. So what I'm trying to say is we have what we call the marker in Korean. You're going to learn a few markers as you take this course. Okay. Vocabulary. In Korean vocabulary, about 30 to 45% of the words are indigenous, which means it's native Korean. You don't find the same word in any language, okay? And then we have about 50 to 65% that came from Chinese. What I mean is that you can write the word in Chinese, okay? But then it's pronounced in a different way from Chinese, okay? So how Chinese people will pronounce it, it's different from how Koreans will pronounce it. We just borrow the words and letters, okay? About 50 to 65. All right, and then we have growing number of words that came from English and Japanese. Well, Japanese, no more influence because, we're done with the imperialism and colonization. It's over. But growing influence from the English language. Okay? So let me give you an example. How a Chinese character read differently in these three different languages in the Far East Asia. This is 한국 written in Chinese. Well, the old Chinese. 한국 means Korea. Okay? All right. In Korean, the same Chinese character is read 한국, which means Korea. The same word is in China is pronounced 한국. Okay? You see what I mean? I mean, you see the similarity, but they're not read in the same way. Okay? In Japan, it's read kankoku. Okay? They also use Chinese characters. Okay? They call that kanji. And then they read it a slightly different way. Kankoku. 한국, 한국, kankoku. They all can be written this way. Okay? So there you can see Chinese influence in Far East Asia, and that is reflected in a lot of words. I mean, in Japanese language, you can write a lot of words in Chinese, but not all the words. Some words you can only be written in Japanese language. They're hiragana and katakana. Same way for Korean language, you can write about half or a bit more than half of the words in Chinese, but not all of them. Okay? Alright. Words that came from English. Let me give you an example. And this will kind of give you an idea how Korean is pronounced. Okay? This is 스트레스. What does that mean? It means stress. Okay? Stress in Korean is 스트레스. Now, when you hear this, it's kind of funny because in English, how many syllables are there in the word stress?
1.
How many syllables are there?
1.
Stress. Nah, there's only one vowel here. We only have one syllable in the word stress. Okay? Stress. In Korean, it's 4 syllables. 스트레스. They're all voiced. 스트레스. Okay? Alright. Ice cream in Korean is 아이스크림. Okay? 아이스크림. 5 syllables. It's 2 syllables in English. Ice cream. 아이스크림. 5 syllables. Okay? You don't have to write them down. They're not going to be on the test or anything. But anyway, it's up to you. Computer. 컴퓨터. Okay? I mean, the number of syllables is the same. 3 syllables, computer. Okay, in English. 컴퓨터, 3 syllables in Korean. Chicken, 치킨 in Korean. Okay? Now, I have a question for you. Why do we have to use the English word chicken to say chicken? Because Korea used to have chicken. We still have chicken. We have chicken 2,000 years ago in Korea. Why would we have to borrow the word chicken? Because we only started importing words from English after 20th century. Okay? We have another word for chicken in Korean. But what does chicken mean? If we already have the word, why would we have to borrow the English word chicken to say chicken? Any ideas?
Does it sound like another word?
Well, you were kind of close. It means chicken, but it's a different kind of chicken than what the Koreans used to know.